Guys, don't get us wrong. We're not saying serving in the church is wrong. No, it's something that is very highly encouraged, you know.
Hello everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're watching from. Now if you're watching this, that means you're watching for the very first time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce to you the Desk Devotion Podcast. My name is Julius Mawanda and I'm with my colleague
Angela Malong. Yay!
Angela. How are you feeling?
I feel a little bit nervous, to be honest, but yeah, there's always a beginning. There's always a first time for everything. I'm optimistic about it, and yeah, I'm positive. I think it will be incredible.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think it was 2nd December, right? When this whole idea came to our mind.
Yeah.
And they were sitting somewhere and they were like, one day.
Yeah, I remember.
We never thought it would be this day.
Who knew?
Amazing.
Yeah.
What should the people expect?
I think I would first say the journey to every transformation is consistency. So first of all, guys, I can assure you that it's going to be worth it. So just be consistent, check on it, you know, from time to time, and just wait for like the next thing dropping, because it's not going to disappoint. Again, it's not just about us, but it's something that we are really optimistic that God is going to do a lot through this, and it's just something that we are doing by ourselves, but we are also like really hoping that it will impact a lot of people. So yeah, I would say really the whole thing for me is like a very positive kind of feeling, and I just believe it's going to work out, not just for us, but like for everybody else that is watching as well.
People maybe are wondering, how did we come up with this idea? Why did we choose to start this podcast?
Yeah, now I think on the 2nd of December we were kind of just talking about how there's like so many things that like our churches tend to like leave out, or there's just like so much there's this ideal that people have of like Christianity, or there's like this kind of image that like the community is like portraying, and people just kind of, I mean, the minute you're saved, you're just like kind of pressured to succumb to transformation. You know, it's like there are people that are just saved today, and tomorrow morning they just want to like wake up and like impose all these set of rules, and it feels like you've been transformed overnight. So it just came to our mind that it's something that in the long run can bring a lot of damage, especially for like our youth, because then they're in the church but they have all these sets of rules that they do not understand why it's that way. They don't know the spirit behind it. They have not had a journey of discipleship. So we're just talking about this, and we're like, okay, what did God command us in the first place? It was go and make disciples. But it's like we realize it's something that our church is like dodging a lot these days. You know, no one wants to take up the cross. No one wants to take the cross of discipleship. No one wants to walk alongside another individual. It's like, oh, today you're saved and boom, you just have to make it through. So that was just it. It's like the thing that really came up for us, and we're like, okay, so like how can we just, you know, speak into people's lives daily? How can we bring to light these small details about, you know, the walk with Christ, and like just how personal it is, and like how transformation is a journey, not a one night thing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. I feel like I've just said it all, but maybe our viewers have also had their own experiences.
Yeah.
I remember just one time when we went to missions, and we met with this one lady, and she was saying, you know, I no longer go to fellowship because at my church they were asking for lots of offertory stuff like that. This other person was saying, I no longer go to fellowship because I saw my fellow born agains, they were doing wicked stuff. And I'm like, people have all of this mindset because they do not know what is born again faith, because they think maybe their faith is one way, maybe about their church leaders or their pastors, whatever, or their fellow congregants.
I mean, I feel like even the way you just brought it kind of brought something to mind, because I feel like I was focusing on like the church end, but like you've brought something to mind too, where it's by people kind of just want to like confess Christ, but no one wants to like embrace the journey. They just want to like walk into like a structure of like the church, and they're like, oh, maybe the church leader is doing this, or like if I can just be in the church and then I don't have to like work on myself, or you know, like deal with myself, deal with the things that I struggle with. But it's like, oh, as long as I'm just under this pastor, it should cover me. I don't have to, you know, work out like my journey with the Lord. So it's like a thing that people tend to do like that. Like I'll just give an example. Like it's like, oh, the pastor knows me, I sing at the church, I clean the church every time, so I mean, it doesn't matter what I'm doing outside. If I'm one leg in, one leg out, it doesn't matter. As long as the pastor knows me, or the system of the church already knows me and I'm familiar with it. So it's just something to remind us that it's not like a one man. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like a fault of like the church only, but just bringing light to like the individuals as well, knowing that our journey with the Lord is something individual, like in a sense, and we have to like, you know, not just walk into this blind system, but like know the spirit behind the structure. And all of that.
You know, whatever you're sharing is just highlighting things that I've experienced already. Just today I was going to church and with one of my friends, and they told me they were saying that for them they do not want to be involved in church ministries like being ministers in the church. And I was like, for me, I said it's cool, no problem. But the person was like, I had a friend of mine, and they told me, because for them they are ministering in a certain church, so they're asking me, are you serving in any church? And I'm like, no, I'm not serving. And the other person said to this man, like, you should join one church. It is like you as a Christian should be serving in the church. And I believe we have many conspiracies like that. By the way, even still, I even encountered one gentleman who was saying, I would love to be a born again, but I don't want to come and be serving in the church. You know, so I think in a certain way we have put God in the box. I mean, people don't really know what our faith is all about. I like when you highlighted about the making disciples of all nations. Because I think most of us think making disciples is majorly go and preach and bring this person to Christ and it is done. Which is absolutely not enough. Because we ought to do much, and maybe if you stick with us, we shall be taking you through different steps and everything like that. Because making the disciples of all nations, making a disciple is when you are sure that the disciple you have made is also able to make another disciple.
Exactly.
It starts with someone, it's going to someone until he comes back. Isn't it, Angela?
I mean, that's so true. And guys, don't get us wrong, we're not saying serving in the church is wrong. No, it's something that is very highly encouraged. You know, like we read a lot of Paul's letters, and he's talking about fellowship, gathering, serving one another. That is the whole point. That is the whole point of a body of Christ. But what is the point that we're trying to get across here is that just serving at the church doesn't serve as, you know, it's not what you account for before the Lord. I mean, it's not like your identity. It's not something that you're going to be like, but God, it doesn't matter if I'm thinking negative of this person. As long as I'm serving in the church, this is my righteousness. This is what justifies me. So that's what we're trying to deal with here. Just, you know, bringing the fact that it's incredible to serve at the church. That's what we are called to do. That is our purpose as children of God, you know, serving one another, fellowshipping and being there for one another. But it shouldn't be something that we take and replace the role of Christ in our lives. No, it doesn't have to take up the space of Christ, because once we put our service before Christ, then something is terribly wrong. Christ first, and then our service to him comes as a result of submission to him. So just knowing that, guys, it's like what we are really focusing on. So don't get us wrong, serve at the church. I totally encourage that. I also love to serve at church, so go for it. I totally encourage that, but don't switch the sequence. Don't put this before the other.
Just to make sure that we are doing what God has put onto our lives, because we are here to serve the Lord. I mean, that's our point really, because what do you have to offer to the church if you don't have a foundation? So, you know, the whole point is it has to begin with you, and then you can only pour from a cup that is overflowing. So that's just our point, you know, like catering for the individual's journey. Like that's the whole goal, to impact the individual so they can also be able to impact the community. So that's just it. Amazing. So if you're watching this, just go and subscribe to that YouTube channel, Desk Devotion. Check us out on all socials, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, all visual platforms. We shall be sharing this information, and we just want you to keep in touch with us. Subscribe, turn that notification button on, and keep it locked in. Desk Devotion. Peace out.
Yes, guys, thank you for following. Thank you for being with us. Keep on supporting us as we support you. You know, it's like, it's a two-way journey. You know, it's not about us, it's about all of us, both the people behind the screen and the ones watching the screen, guys. Let's just cooperate, let's just coordinate to get this further, to get this message, to create awareness for the youth out there, to create awareness for the people out there that are just, you know, like living in a world of, yeah, just succumbing to like the pressure of maybe I just need to serve at the church and that justifies me, or I just need to submit to the pastor and that justifies me. Again, don't go rebel against your pastors. I totally love pastors, guys, but it begins with the individual. That's my point. So let's stay tuned, just keep up with us, and you will definitely you won't be disappointed. That's my point. So stay tuned. See you. Love you guys.
Adios.